And you talked about how Nepean was kind of the first time you were like drafted. Essentially, it was protected, right? So it's not like the traditional draft.
Yeah.
But then you went on to be drafted by Belleville.
Yeah.
So what was it like being? I think you're the first goalie drafted by them, right?
That's right. The expansion year. Yeah. So what happened was I ended up. Steve and I on our team with the Nepean Raiders, we lost in our final to the Gloucester Rangers. Gary Galley was one of the prominent players on that team, and Charlie Henry was their coach. And after we'd lost, we were all so disappointed. I mean, we had a really good team, and we really wanted to get to the Centennial Cup. And their coach came over and asked if I would be interested in joining their team. So kind of a real odd situation. You know, you've just played them, and you know you've lost to them, and anyways, it turns out I asked a few people what they thought, and everybody's like, well, of course, you know. So I joined the Gloucester Rangers. We ended up losing to Belleville, and Belleville was then going to turn into a major junior A team the next year as an expansion team. So as we lost to them in Game 7, I'm shaking hands, and their owner, Doc Vaughn, he shook my hand and he said, look around, son, because you're coming back. So I kind of shook his hand, and I thought about it, and sure enough, they took me 29th overall with the first goalie chosen, and I got to start my OHL career with the Belleville Bulls.
Mm-hmm. And then eventually, I think you played a year and a half there, give or take.
A year and a couple of months. Yeah.
And then you ended up getting traded back to Ottawa. So what was it like coming home?
It's great. Best thing that ever happened to me. Yeah? I needed it. I needed it real bad. Confidence. My confidence was wavering. My direction was. I was finding too many paths in the road that were wrong, and I think bad things were going to happen to me. To be quite honest with you, so that trade. It couldn't have come at a better time, and I couldn't have gone to a better group of guys. Mm-hmm. And Brian Kilray gets on the phone and says, we're playing tonight in Kingston, do you think you should play? And I said, yes, I want to play. And he goes, well, I know you're cocky and all that, Pang, but and I said, I really want to get in there. We won the game. I'm driving home on the bus. I'm having a time of my life in the back, and my life changed. My confidence changed. And it was really meaningful. There could be a lot of other teams I could have been traded to, and I probably wouldn't have survived it. But getting traded back to Ottawa was something else. It was great.
Do you have any other killer stories?
I got lots of killer stories.
Yeah,
I got great killer stories. I mean, the one thing about Brian Kilray is first of all, he was the best coach that I ever had, not even a question. He just had an ability to knock you down when you're a little full of yourself, and then to raise you up when you're lacking a little confidence. Mm-hmm. And that's a unique thing to do. And I know he's tough on players, and he's tough on young players, and but I think he groomed you the right way. And if you had it, then you could get through it and be successful. But he was, I mean, there's so many things that he did. I mean, there was one time I gave up a goal. Oh my goodness, I gave up like 2 bad goals, terrible goals at home. And they kept going through my legs, and he hated that. He was old school. Hated that I would go down in the butterfly and they'd go through my legs. And so the next day at practice, we all were hunkering around there, getting ready for the drills, and he said, and ping pong, he said, if you go down one time and give up 1 goal through those legs of yours, you will not play for 3 weeks. And he added a couple of other choice words in there as well. So I went through an entire practice, staying on my skates, never went down once, gave up 9 million goals, but he didn't care. It didn't bother him that I gave up goals. He wanted me to stay on my skates and be more patient. And it was a great lesson for me, because I gave up a lot of rotten goals after that by trying to be patient. But as it turns out, getting to the NHL, that was a key moment, because I less floppy and more patience made me a bigger goaltender. I felt a bit bigger. So that was a good lesson. But I honestly thought he was going to tie a rope around my neck, tie it to the crossbar, and if I went down, I'd hang myself. I mean, I swear that's where he was going on that, with what he was trying to encourage me not to do and to do. And I'll never forget it, because we went on to win the Memorial Cup, and we had these great years there in Ottawa.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about that Mem Cup run. First I want to talk about the OHL playoffs, because I think you guys only lost 1 game on the way to the J. Ross Robertson, right?
That's right.
So what was that run like?
It was an incredible run, and I think what helped me personally is that we played really well the year before, but we lost to Oshawa, and they went to the Memorial Cup. And I thought we might have had a better team then. But this team was different. This team was resilient. Brad Shaw and Bruce Cassidy and Roy Malari on the back end, and some of the players that we had up front. Like everybody talks about Adam and Gary Roberts. We had Darcy Roy and we had guys like Bennett. We had guys like Phil Patterson, guys that don't get a lot of notoriety, and I thought we had a great supporting group. And so anyways, it turns out that run that we were in was something else, because when we had to play Kitchener, they're hosting, so we had to beat them. We had to win the entire, the league championship, but we had the circus in town. So we had to play, it was an 8-point series, they called it, and we had to play the majority of the games in Kitchener. So we didn't even have the advantage of beating them on our own ice. I think we only played two of the games there. Maybe it was an 8-game series, or I don't know how. It was funny the way they did it back then. It wasn't like a best of 7. And anyway, we had to win in their building, so we had a lot of confidence beating them, and then having to face them in the Memorial Cup. I think because of that experience that we had, we rolled over teams. We rolled over Cornwall. Is it Oshawa that we might have beat as well? So we had a good group of guys that felt like we were going to win, no matter what rink we were at.
Yeah, and I was curious about the Memorial Cup. Like when you get there, you're seeing all these teams from other leagues. And I know today guys are so well connected through social media and stuff, but what was it like when you guys went to the Memorial Cup and there's a Q team and a dub team there? Like, were you familiar with the guys on the other teams at all?
Not at all.
No.
No knowledge other than, hey, that guy was drafted by Chicago. Somebody went to camp with them. But that's you're going in there pretty blind. But I do remember one thing in particular when we got off our team bus. We were all supposed to wait outside, all the teams. So Quebec had Laval, and that was Mario Lemieux. And then Kitchener, we'd all John Tucker and Wayne Presley and that group were really good players. And then the West, Kamloops, they had Jim Camazola, and they had Ken Danico and Dean Evison, I think, or a couple guys, but we didn't really know them that well. But when all of us looked around, and I think they were lined up to our right, and they had their team jackets on, and Mario Lemieux was there, that was a different look. Like, that was intimidating. Tall, good looking, 280-something points that year, in 1 year.
Yeah.
And we're thinking to ourselves, that's Mario Lemieux. He's going number 1 overall. And so that still sticks in my memory bank as a special moment. And then we did play them in the first game. And he didn't have a very good Memorial Cup. Something was going on there, and maybe didn't want to be drafted to Pittsburgh. I'm not sure. But he only scored 1 goal in the Memorial Cup, and I've told him this since. I said, Mario, you scored only 1 goal in the Memorial Cup. And he's like, I don't know. And I go, I know, because it was against me. and he... In our very first game, we just pulled out a victory against him, like 5-4 or 6-5. But he scored a goal on me, and that was the only one he got in the whole tournament.
Yeah, and I know you talked about you guys were a pretty confident team, but were you a little shell-shocked when you went down 7-2 to Kitchener in the final game of round robin?
Yeah, that was... I personally was running out of gas. I knew that. I played a lot of games late. I missed the first half of the year because of a torn MCL. So I had real big surgery, and Greg Corum, who he passed away a couple of years ago. He was my partner, and he was great. He deserves a lot of credit. I got pulled in that first game. He came in and won the game. I went back and played the second game, and we beat Kamloops. I went back and played the third game, got shellacked by Kitchener. But every time that happened, and I could feel my game kind of honestly, I kind of lost some momentum there. But Brian Kilrea, after that game, pulled me aside, and I think my mom took a picture, because I've got it in my photo album, and everybody's lined up on the blue line. And Killer, I know because I got a towel over I'm sure I've got a towel, so he's obviously saying something to me, pulled me aside, and it's just Killer and me. And I believe that's when he said, get yourself ready, you're going back in. And he always puts you in a good mental state. He never played games with you. It wasn't going to be a secret the next day who's going to start, so everybody's asking questions. He pulled me right aside and said, get ready. Don't worry about what happened. We're playing Kamloops tomorrow. We win, we're in. So get yourself ready. And so that was Killer all the way. Another reason why he was such a great coach in the way he handled things.
Yeah. So walk me through when the clock hit 0 on that final game.
Oh, of the Memorial Cup? Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, we pounded them real bad. Huh?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was really anticlimactic. But it was unique. I've seen lots of pictures. You know, your memory kind of goes through pictures after a while. So whether it was the two newspapers in Ottawa had, you know, front page pictures. So I remember looking at them, and there was one picture that I was kind of, I think we were all there with a trophy, but I was kind of, I'm looking up a lot. And I was trying to find my mom, and I was trying to find, I've got my family there, my girlfriend at the time, Lynn, who I've been married for 32 years. I was trying to find out where they were all sitting, and I couldn't see them. You know, I couldn't see where they were. I knew they were in some area, and I'm kind of trying to look. But when it happened, everybody comes down to the goalie, so you just raise your arms, and you're like, you can't believe that you just won. You know? It's a pretty cool feeling.